wafisadi wote wakitaka kuniletea kisirani, either wahame Kenya.
What are you saying?
Serikali ya wauaji, serikali ya abduction.
What is he saying?
Ama waende mbinguni. Hakuna dawa nyingine.
Sema watu. Wewe William Ruto.
Hoya guys, back to our YouTube channel. Thanks for your great support. Nyinyi ni watu wa nguvu zaidi. Nasema karibuni tena, niendelee kupakulia jinsi ambavyo mambo yanajaribu kuchemka hapa nchini Kenya. Na nilikwambia guys, zile moments na kupostia video ujue tu nimejaribu kucollect mambo ambayo yamekuwa yakiendelea kuchemuka na kuharibika hapa nchini Kenya. So guys, kitu ya kwanza tunaangalia Edwin Sifuna. Edwin Sifuna is a general secretary wa ODM party. And severally Raila Odinga huwa anatuambia kwamba ukiona Edwin Sifuna anazungumza ujua anaongea on behalf of ODM party.
The spokesman of the party is usually the Secretary General. So Sifuna, when Mr. Sifuna speaks, he's speaking on behalf of the party.
No, watu wangu. Hadi nao, mambo yalianza kuchemuka baada ya Edwin Sifuna kuelekea upande wa Citizen TV confronting the President of the Republic of Kenya and delivering the truth kwamba hii state imefail. Na sio mara ya kwanza Edwin Sifuna kushambulia Rais William Ruto. Amekuwa akimshambulia na anatambulika kwamba yeye kama General Secretary wa ODM party amekuwa akikosoa serikali ya William Ruto. And kano na kuwa General Secretary wa ODM, pia Edwin Sifuna kiyeye mwenyewe hawezi kuwa na witness mambo maovu yakiendelea, na pia yeye ni senator wa Nairobi County, lazima aweze kukosoa vilivyo. Unaona?
ODM umeingia wiki mbili kabla ya nomination, ushachoka. Ushachoka, unatuambia unataka kupumzika ndani ya serikali. Serikali ya wenyewe, serikali ya wafisadi, serikali ya wauaji, serikali ya abductors. Mtatuambia nini bwana?
That's why unaona watu wanasema ya kwamba Edwin Sifuna is right.
Unless he's reading a statement which has been authenticated by the party, then that is the position of the party. Otherwise, when he addresses the press, he could be addressing it as Senator of Nairobi.
Ongee, anakubaliwa na tuwezi zuia mtu kuongea, lakini yale yalisainiwa pale KICC ndio sisi tumeshikilia mpaka wa leo. Na tunaunga broad base mkono 100%. Hapa tuondoki.
They can do all manner of things, they can say all manner of things, but they can't remove information. And I think that is the comfort that Sifuna also has. He has the comfort of his security being Baba. So the day Baba wakes up and says, Sifuna, you are done, that will be the day.
And uliona yesterday Rais William Ruto akijaribu kujibu Edwin Sifuna. Unaona watu wangu? So now I want you to listen kwa hii video because huwa nakukolektia mambo mengi ambayo yanajaribu kufanyika. And kwa hii video I don't want you to swipe. Kulikuwa na fireworks in TV47 between a member of parliament from Homa Bay town, Peter Kaluma, and Gachoka. I can tell you that mali ambapo imefikia, some of the leaders wanasema kwamba it's better tuongozwe na military. Unaona watu wangu? And not William Samoei Arap Ruto. Iwapo William Ruto atasecure another second term, then it's better military take over. Because now Ruto hatutaendelea kuongoza na William Ruto. William Ruto alisema kwamba piga risasi na hako uongozini for the first term. Then to the second term atafanya aje? Atasema piga risasi kwa kichwa. Unaona watu wangu? Hiyo itakuwa ni command kutoka kwake because ako kwa last term. Unaona watu wangu? But kabla tuendelee, and show my like video, na nasema thanks for your great support. Nyinyi ni watu wa nguvu zaidi. Kabla usikize guys, kumbuka pia DIG Lagat alistep aside ili aachie uchunguzi uweze kufanyika kwa ile kifo ya Albert Ojwang. But now tunaarifiwa kwamba DIG Lagat ana resume office. Sikiza.
And look at it, even when you are actually running our services. Now, in this country, there are people who are very wealthy, but you don't see what they do. When Bill Gates is rich, you can see their computers everywhere. You know where Bill Gates' wealth came from. There are few people. Now, if these wealthy people were actually working and generating wealth, even the youth would be employed. But people are wealthy, What they have done to get this wealth, you don't know. So these are the problems. So now, when the youth come and say they want change, but the thing is, when they want change, when they bring this, there are people who actually want to utilize that uprising to get to their own. These are people who will actually burn the country in the name of the youth. That is why you say, hey, let's stop it. If it is getting there, are we really going to get what we want? I told Sudan, my friend was saying, even Sudan, did they get what they want? Because we must look at a process that when we bring change, when we reached a time when Moi was removed, there was a very organized structure of who was going to take over. When Raila said, now, Kibaki Tosha, it was clear that if we remove it. So, but let me tell you, but when people die, he was asking me what we are doing in 2023. Okay, we were demonstrating and people were dying. I hated it then as I hate it now. So we must not put a situation, and you know, the truth is I've been in demonstrations. My car right now has actually a mark that was left by
the stone of Koome.
It was actually a canister. That mark it was thrown by Koome. Yeah, the Nairobi police
became the IG later.
Yeah, so I can actually say I know who threw the stone, the canister on my car. The mark is there. I'll not remove it. So, all right. So, thank you. So no, what I'm saying, those past deaths are bad. Those current deaths are bad. If the DIG is in office today, that is wrong. Why is it wrong? I don't know. You've just told me. He said he stepped aside for investigations to go on. I'm not a lawyer. But what I know, if that is what you say, then the first thing that happens for him to come back is when the investigation is over and the results of the investigation has been made public and the public say, actually, other than this, you know. So again, that is wrong. So it cannot be that, I'm saying we are still supporting the government. But when things are wrong, I'll actually say, Mr. President,
thank you.
See how these steps are to be stopped.
All right, thank you.
Children can't buy.
Okay, well, I just wanted to ask.
I watched this program last week, and I thought it was very far below the level of the TV station and your anchorage. And let me also thank you for bringing this top leadership. And I wanted to request all of us here that there is a reason as to why we have been picked by this media to come and speak to Kenyans. There are 55 million Kenyans who would have been here. So when we are here, let us be frank. Let us, from the point of leadership, speak to the nation the truth and things that can guide the nation well. The broad-based government was not entered into in easy circumstances. I was just reading for my brother here the provisions of Article 146, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution. You remember when we had the Gen Z uprising, which was a national, movement, Dibal, it started as Reject Finance Bill 2024. And the clarion call throughout, even up to the last day, Tony, was reject. Yeah. Our side, Nikal will tell you, Okongo will tell you, we rejected, as the Gen Z wanted. After the finance bill died, the thing moved from the finance bill that it was to Ruto must go. It went to Ruto must go. And then I think the people of Ruto said, but why Ruto alone? And so Ruto must go moved to Kufa driver, Kufa Makanga, meaning both Ruto and Gachagua have to go. And I think we were on point up to that level. Look at Article 146, Sub-Article 2, in terms of what happens when we have a vacancy in the offices of the president and the deputy president. When you have a vacancy in the office of the president and the deputy president is there, the deputy president takes over. when both the president and the deputy were not to be there. Remember at that time we were talking about Kufa driver, Kufa Makanga. Then the Constitution says at the provision I've told you, that the Speaker of the National Assembly takes over for 60 days. Within those 60 days, there must be an election. Did we have an IEBC? It was just constituted the other day. And so at the 60th day, this country was not going to have leadership. People have said the military were to take over. But they are thinking of the military as the only agency with the force to take over then. But assume it would be the military, or then an unconstitutional rule then comes into the country. Look at the countries which have gone in that direction. My brother Dibal, Somalia taped in 1991. It has not reset and gotten back to the rail 35 years later. Look at countries which have gone from constitutional rule to a rule other than by the constitution. It will confirm to you across the world and across Africa that they take virtually our whole generation is wiped before we would come back and have this beautiful document. And about that is the context in which we sat as a political party, and later you remember as a coalition. And it was not an easy decision, but I believe it was a difficult yet the most patriotic decision. Let me tell Kenyans, if we allowed military rule, see the situation where they have even taken over and allowed something called democracy to come back. They just change uniforms, they control the elections, and they have term limits. The other day we were celebrating West Africa Dibal. What is the president of Niger now saying? There is no term limit. He will rule for as long as he wants. Let me tell our people that when there is a rule other than by the constitution, today any retiree would not be claiming money anywhere. All our schools, I guess, would still be shut. There would be no MP, there would be no police officer, everybody would be a civilian. I imagine most of us would be going out of the country seeking refuge and other situations. And that is why we sat as a party and we made the difficult decision to say that we may talk of human rights and fundamental freedoms, but without Kenya, you cannot enjoy those rights. And so that is what birthed the broad-based government after the Gen Z uprising. And I wanted to request the young people, I've seen so many of them shouting, ODM betrayed us, Baba betrayed us. I'm telling you, in his lifetime, I hope we'll be awake, and we will thank Raila and the ODM party for intervening to secure that the state is there instead of going away. Let me come straight to the MOU. If you read that MOU, and it was read by the respective Secretary Generals, Sifuna on behalf of the ODM party, and remember it was Hassan Omar because I was there at KICC. It's a public thing. Read the preamble. It says Kenya has socio, economic, and political problems which are destabilizing the state each time. And then it goes point by point to identify the issues arising from those tensions and how they can be addressed. I wanted to confirm that at the first point, you see NADCO. Up to yesterday, we were debating the Elections Act amendment law, the Registrar of Political Parties amendment, I think we debated before we went on recess, and the things which we committed under that first part of the memorandum to deal with are being dealt with. I can tell you, we had the issue of inclusivity, devolution. We have the issue of compensation for people injured enjoying their Article 37 rights. We have all those issues. I can look at Kenyans in the face and tell them we are in the right trajectory. The challenge we are facing, Dibal, is on point number 2 of the MOU. That is calling for inclusivity.
In all spheres of life.
In all spheres of life. And remember, Dibal, we founded that thing as the second point on the principle that in a nation, you cannot have a nation when all people equally own and equally share in the resources. Dibal, if you follow me on X, yesterday I just posted the roads department. One community. from PS to down. And that is the case. You go to the AG's office, you go to the critical departments of government, so there is a resistance because, you know, to bring inclusivity, some people have to go, some people have to come in, so that we live the life of Article 232 of the Constitution here, which says there will be ethnic and regional balance at all levels of government, which says that the minorities will be catered for, which says that, people who have been marginalized will be integrated, persons with disability will be integrated. For you to reach to a level where we have the face of Kenya as contemplated by Article 232, some people have to go. Let me tell you, and Okongo will confirm and Nyikal, when we had the last election, 2022 election, we had a meeting, and you remember we were supported by the last president, the previous president, President Uhuru Kenyatta. So they came, and you remember the Masai Lodge meeting. What did President Uhuru Kenyatta tell us? I'm going to hand over to President Ruto, but prepare for elections in 6 months. This is so because President Uhuru knew the economy had been wrecked under his administration.
Right, thank you.
No. Allow me to conclude this.
Yes, just conclude briefly so that we can go to Okongo Omoge.
I want to tell you that 1 month before President Kenyatta, I'm just concluding on inclusivity, left office. He contracted 1,500 kilometers of roads in Mount Kenya alone. And so when you hear people saying, complete the ongoing projects before you can start any other, it is work only on our projects. And if you are dealing with 1,500 kilometers of roads, at the current appropriation, my colleague Nikalia will tell you, for 7 up to 10 years, you will be only completing those roads. You will not be doing roads anywhere. So inclusivity in terms of sharing national resources, inclusivity in terms reorganizing the public service is affecting us. Let me conclude by saying, Dibal, that let us not be unfair to President Ruto. If you want to say that where a police officer commits a mistake and shoots a person, it is Ruto we blame, then how many people died under Uhuru Kenyatta? I've served in the security committee for now 13 years continuously. Gachoka, do you know the number of people who are being carried in tapers and dumped into River Yala? How many people were being taken from Kilimani police station and shot in the head at Ngong Forest? When was Chris Musando executed? Where was baby Pendo, bludgeoned by the police in whose reign? If we are to talk about everybody who dies in your reign, it is you to blame. How many people died under Kibaki? So let us not, blame leadership as if we don't know the law. Let me conclude by saying...
No, you've been concluding for the...
Yes.
Let me just try and butt in right now. Yesterday. And he regarded this memorandum of understanding that we, of course, we're discussing as dead. Because all the things here that they had agreed with the Kenya Kwanza government, nothing has come to fruition. If we look at the full implementation of the NADCO report, that one also is still in the process. We don't know where it is at. They can always tell us inclusivity in all spheres of public life, that is still wanting. Protecting and strengthening devolution, right? We have all had cases about also the disbursement of fund that has not been coming promptly. Promoting and protecting the livelihoods of young people. Now, this is where we have the bone of contention, because this has not been observed. Leadership and integrity, rights to peaceful assembly and protest, and compensation of all pending claims. This is one of the key items that I think there has been an egregious violations of.
Let me say, because I don't think I'll speak again, that it's been a privilege to share the platform with this distinguished panel. But when I was doing my dissertation in the UK, one of the papers I was writing was, if there had been no Hitler, who would have been Churchill? and Churchill said, that of all the virtues of a man, there's none more important than courage. And the last meeting I had with my friend and mentor, political mentor, Jacom, Raila Odinga, was at Riverside Drive, the day he did the first Mandamano. he convened a group of us. Present was Professor Makau Mutua, myself, James Orengo, Wakili Amolo Otiende, Ruth Odinga was there. I think the Maasai Senator Oladama was there. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head, but it was a distinguished panel. And I remember at that point we were discussing why would Baba take a risk with his life and come out to stand against William Ruto's government. And after everybody spoke, Baba stood on his feet. And as God lives in heaven, Baba said that he was not going to oppose Ruto. He was going to let Ruto try and fulfill his mandate and see whether he would lead Kenya forward. But when he saw the cannibalization of the opposition, when he saw the buying of members of parliament and senators and the destruction of the constitutional order, he decided that this is a road that Yoweri Museveni, Kaguta Museveni, followed in Uganda. And now he's running, I don't know, for 16 years. And he said, this is the route that Rwanda is going. And as Raila Odinga, I will not allow this, because Kenya is a democracy where there should be periodic elections, people should be elected, and the people's mandate must be exercised. But William Ruto began to exhibit from day one a strongman syndrome, where he and he alone must do everything. I want to remind the Prime Minister that the Constitution of Kenya 2010 was a product of this Mount Kenya, which is now being loathed. The alliance of Mount Kenya and ODM produced the 2010 Constitution.
It was all Kenya.
Because, I want to be clear, because President Mwai Kibaki and Raila Odinga were the political heads of the country, yes, the whole country, but they are coming together beyond ethnic considerations created in the Constitution for the whole country. So when people need to be together, they are not tribalists. But when they disagree on ideology, on issues, they become tribalists. I want to tell Peter Kaluma, because we may not share another platform another time, if he wants to look for tribalists, let him not look for Tony Gashoka. Because that one, you will never win. Because even Raila will tell you off. I was working with Raila. In fact, I remember when Raila became Prime Minister, he appointed 3 people. Mohamed Isahakia, Karori Omondi, and Tony Gashoka. And therefore, please do not utter in your words, using the name of ODM to call Tony Gashoka a tribalist. I will never stand or accept that. You can call other people that. I do not know them, I don't know their history, but I know mine. And I'm here to say at TV47, we are not going to contain, or we are not going to stomach the massacre of young people in this nation by any name, by any organization, by any police force, by any grand coalition government, whatever the case. There is a proper procedure under the Penal Code and the laws of Kenya for any criminal who conducts any criminal act to be tried by the jurors of their peers, to be put together and put in prison for as long as it takes for the crime they commit. But we cannot create fear in our children and actually sit down here and glorify the fact that a 12-year-old girl watching television at home can die from a stray bullet. And I mean, even in hell, I'm sure there must be a procedure. The devil himself, there must be a procedure even in hell. I mean, this is absurd. And I want to say, you cannot. I mean, even Hitler had gas chambers. He would even give you a shower before he burnt you to ashes. I mean, this guy, Subaru's wounded men and women, abducting children and shooting. I mean, even in Vietnam, there were rules. A sniper would hide by the tree. I mean, you're watching television. I mean, I want to condemn in the strongest terms, and I want to tell Jacob, siasa dua ruparu. Jacob, siasa dua ruparu. Please don't allow this country one day to say Raila must go. Raila, is out of love, but on this one, you're wrong.
Yeah. All right. Kaluma, so I want